Okay, folks. I didn't know I had hit press start live. Good thing I start off with my pants on. Okay, kind of a little bit of a clusterfuck. Move things out of the way here for the storm. But we need to work on the stuff that we need to work on if we're going to finish it. So I got a piece of scrap here. Great, I just lost something. I swear, every time I put on my glasses, I'm like a fucking mole. Can't see shit. The fumbler! Should have plenty of water here. I've not had any water today, so. Oh, no wonder. These are the super fucking. Get some epoxy because we're going to need to epoxy some stuff. We're going to need to clean up some of these tank models. Lots of shit in the way here. All right. I had another X-Acto knife. Is this the original X-Acto knife? No. I got two of them out here. I'm wondering where the hell are my X-Acto knives? They're both out here. All right, so epoxy in place. All right, so we've got a lot of T-34s to put together, but they're going to involve a lot of cleanup. So we're going to get the old Dremel tool out here and clean that stuff up, at least clean up the heavy lifting things with that. And might be better off putting this over here. No, not if it's going to fall off. All right, how about we move this? All right. All right. Does this come out? It does not. Okay. Yeah, that's probably all right. That's probably all right. Yeah, I think that storm just, even though there really wasn't a storm here, it shook up everything in the atmosphere, and I've had throat discomfort. But it's not like I have a headache or anything, so the show can go on. So we've got some T-34s that we need to work on. Let's get a piece that does not have scribble all over it, so we don't lose our mind. And let's see what we got here, because we're going to need to assemble these, and we're going to have to clean these up as we go. So, model 1941 T-34. Okay, these are all Hinchcliffe Skytrex, old school ones. Here's another one. The B is this one's considered this 941B. This is the model 1942. Here's a model 1940, a 1941, 1940, a 1940, a 1940, a 1941. Nope, my bad. 1942, 1941, and this is just odds and ends that come with it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 early ones, 1, 2, 3, 4 mid ones, and 2 later ones. Okay. So, let's not mess with the later ones yet. We're going to do them in early to late. And these are very, very heavy. These are very, very old. Actually, I don't know what the vintage of them is. I do have hand sanitizer right here, don't I? Do. Okay. Because this is like high lead not high lead concentration, but they got some lead in there. Before I start putting my fingers in my mouth, and then I'll go crazier than I already am. All right, let's get the Dremel tool out here. I see the pedals already out here. The Dremel tool of unusual size. I had this kind of organized, and then shove everything in the garage. The storm's coming. There. Let me move this down. Thing is big as hell. It's gotta be down. It's gotta be down here. No, it doesn't have to be right there. I'm not a big fan of cleaning flash off of stuff. And it's even worse with this. This is Tony Hobby. I wonder what the fuck is in there. The rest of the garage is picked up, just this corner. I don't think I put it far away, and I didn't. It's right underneath it. It already should have the right bit on it. It does. All right. So we're talking about one of these. I don't have it hung up yet. I'm afraid of putting any more pressure on that. And honestly, it works fine just down here. So let me go ahead and connect. And plug it in. Yeah, this is zero edited. If I'm going to get raked by a bear today, you guys are going to see it. Not that that's likely to happen, but. The one that's a airbrush. This one. Don't tell me this is just a little bit too short. It is. Okay. Well, that's probably not where I had it connected then. All right, let's move this out of the way. That out of the way. That out of the way. Okay. Yeah, we got it to fit. dial this really, really slow, because no matter what I'm doing, even though this is white metal, you don't need that kind of power. What you don't need to go through is a bunch of X-Acto knife blades. All right, so let's pull this out. Really should have a garbage can here. See if we can rudimentarily make one. Okay, inside here we have a turret and stuff. What's that? Neighbor with a lawnmower. Okay, the problem why I need an X-Acto knife is this business right here. I talked about this earlier. I'm actually going to show you, and I think there should be enough light here to show you. So you've got this hole that has this machine gun that's stuck in there, and it's got this rib on the machine gun that is attached to the actual hole. Which this would be fine if it was micro armor, if it was GHQ micro armor or something, but this is a 1/76 scale model. It's totally unnecessary to have that kind of safety device. So, you know, you got to cut that off, and taking it off with an X-Acto knife is just takes forever. It just takes way, 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 way too long. So we need to do that on all the T-34s. Now, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take, these are the model 1940s. We're going to put these in a pile. We're going to put the turrets of the 1940s all in one pile, because all of these holes, the only thing that's different on these holes, whether they're inaccurate or not, and look at this one, doesn't even come with a separate bag. So the pattern is, there's no pattern in here. I'll show you the only difference between the models. See, these guys come with the stuff loose. Okay, so two pieces of running gear, two pieces of running gear, a hole. And some of these are going to be snow. Here they do have a bag. Another hole, another two pieces of running gear. These don't come in bags. Half of them came with separate bags on the inside, and half of them didn't. These fuel boxes that come on here, I don't think the model 1940s had them. These little square fuel boxes that go in the corners. So we'll save those for other model tanks. Okay, so here's the holes for the early ones. And I'll show you one from the model 1941. And the only difference on it, I don't even know why they even bothered, is this one has a square flap, the access point here to the engine or the transmission to the oil or whatever, and the other ones have it in round. That's the only difference. Okay? So we're going to do all of these, we're going to do the square ones first. I don't think we need to do the let me put the super readers on. Use the X-Acto knife for the running gear. It has minimal amounts of flash. And there's none of this. This is the wrong pattern, waffle pattern tracks. The tracks that come on here are just like little plates. They're real basic. This is really 1978 technology or something like that. They don't worry about that stuff. And I got the epoxy out here so we can epoxy these, and maybe we'll spray them too. Okay. Tankograd assembly line. There's one. Two. Go all the way to 8. And maybe we'll cut some of the fenders off these things. Make them look a little different. Ooh, exciting. 3. Well, the girls went out for the morning, came back, changed, and went back out again. So I'm like, well, might as well do this now. This is difficult to do in the mornings. So once I finish putting these all together, this will be all the T-34s I have. And I just counted, I've got almost 30 complete. So it's a whole bunch. No, I'm not going to use them all in the game at once. That would be sadistic. You'd have to play a game that just doesn't have a whole lot of detail. Thank you. Actually, never sliced my finger with this thing, but I have poked the end of it. It's all right. We do all my own stunts. Today's not that hot a day in the garage. I think it's going to be in the 80s at the high. So it'd be in the 70s in the garage, which is not too bad. We plan on working in here in the wintertime, and we don't plan on having a sissy heater. Because heaters are for sissies in Florida. I don't care how old you are. If you got a heater in Florida, you're a sissy. You hear that, Mitch? Here's a running gear for those. And here's the model 1940s. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the model 41s as well. They'll have exactly the same running gear. And these go together really, really rudimentary. I'll even show you right now. So you've got these side holes, and you would think, oh, okay, well, we'll just put goop on the side. Now, one thing that's actually pretty smart is these are all the same piece. There is no left and right side of the running gear. They're both the same. So you could use it for either side, right? So what you do is you just take the right side. You got to make sure that the drive axle's in the back on the Russian tanks. Okay, and you just glue it like that, but it doesn't go up against it. Okay, it actually doesn't touch, so it only touches like here on these little ribs and back here somewhere. So that's where I'm going to put the epoxy. So it has this huge surface area, and it doesn't sit on hardly any of it at all. So this is definitely a candidate for using epoxy because some gap filling wouldn't hurt. Well, if I was going to mow the lawn on a Saturday, I wouldn't start at noon 30. I'd start it as early as I could get away with it, as early as my neighbors wouldn't hate me for it. So this is going to be a session where all I'm going to do is, ooh, this is a different one. This is a model. Interesting. This is one of these. It is one of these. All right. I thought that's a model. That's a Mickey Mouse turret. So they only made 400s of the model 1940s. The model 41, they probably made, I'm just going to throw a number out here. They probably made 4,000 of them. And then the 42 just went crazy. Because what happened is they were moving all the tank factories back. The Germans invaded and they moved all the tank factories back. And the model 1940s were just kind of the first model that they had. And then the 41s, they either were moving the factories back or they were making them all out of Stalingrad. Most, I think like 40% of the model 1941s were made out of like one factory in Stalingrad. And it ran all the way into September 1942 until it basically was on the front lines. And they actually got captured by the Germans. The Germans didn't do anything with it, but they just sat there and starved. Got besieged, held it for a couple of months, but all the other factories were moved back near the Ural Mountains, and it took them a little while to get started back up. And when they started back up, they went full force. So in 1941, you don't have a lot of T-34s being made, a lot of tank production, period. I mean, as a matter of fact, the Germans produced more tanks in 1941 and 42 than the Russians did. They produced about the same in 1942, but 1943, it was like the Russians were in full force. So the Mickey Mouse turret T-34s are definitely more numerous than the other ones. Mickey Mouse turret meaning they've got two hatches on the roof, one for the loader, one for the commander, as opposed to the one big hatch. That's the quickie poor man's version of what's going on. If I got some of the details wrong, well, you didn't pay for this learning session anyways. Ooh, this is a big chunk. But the first couple of T-34s that I did that were of these, I took this machine gun off with X-Acto knife. And after going through a bunch of X-Acto knives, putting a ton of horsepower behind it, trying to cut it off, and this has some lead alloy in it. So if these were made nowadays, they'd be a lot less bendy. Actually, I don't know that they're that bendy, but anyhow, it's a big chunk of metal. Make sure the chat's on. There it is. Bring forth the assembly line. What's up, Maroon? Well, I don't like doing things by assembly line, but the reason why is because you'll have a 2-hour or 3-hour session and you'll have nothing to show for it. Right? You won't get anything finished or complete. But since we are using the Dremel, we need to fire all that up and everything. We don't really want to pull that out multiple times. Okay, so let me adjust my count then. That's a model 41. That's a 41. Okay, and the rest are 40s? Okay, that's a hexagonal turret. That's a hexagonal turret. And that's a hexagonal turret. So we've got 3 more of those. Okay, so I got 3 model 40s. I mean, I got 4 model 40s and 3 model 41s. Okay. And I already have 5 other 41s out there. All right. Whew. Okay. Now, the unpleasant part. And it's not exactly the bit that I would like to use, but it's the one I was able to find, and I did it with the other one. And this is just a kind of like a scourer. I do need one that has a point on it. But this allows me really to work at relatively low speeds on this. Okay, so we're going to take this out of the way so it does not drop on my top of my foot. That would not be good. Okay, and this is an early haul. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to clean this flash off like this. Really low speed. We don't want this stuff flying all over the place anyways. This is where the part of you guys that don't like going to the dentist is a problem. Just like that. That pretty much took care of all that flash on there. And unfortunately, there's like a tow cable that's welded on here on all the holes. It's welded on all the holes on the side here, and it's very, very faint. And it's also goes in the exact same place on every one of the tanks. It's kind of unfortunate they did that. So the assembly line definitely isn't a good idea. I'm feeling the consequences of that right now. Yeah, you did an assembly line and regret it. I'm going to try to take the cable off this, see what happens. Well, it's not very loud. You got the super readers on? I do. Okay. Yeah, that'd be terrible with an X-Acto knife. Well, this is a hell of a lot better than painting 32 Roman sandals at once. That shit got old quick. Yeah, this does not move quickly, so I'm probably going to leave that alone. Now I'm going to take that machine gun needs to come off completely. I don't mind replacing the whole damn thing. So we're going to punch a hole with this thing through it. Just like that. And I don't care about losing the top of the machine gun. I'll replace it with sprue. This is actually a lot safer to do than how I was doing it before. And pretty much done. And you can always put a little bit of putty to clean that up. That with an X-Acto knife would have taken me, I don't know, 30 minutes, 20 minutes at least 20 minutes. So, and this thing is extremely overpriced, but with the foot pedal it allows you to get down to, you know, even the fastest speed that I'm at. I mean, the actual Dremels go way too fast. It's got so hot it actually melted some of the lead on there. All right, we're going to be drinking a lot of water. Don't plan on getting many resin or metal cast kits. I do have a few on the list though. I prefer plastic. I really do. Even if it's separate link track, I'm not scared of separate link track. I showed you guys how easy it is to do. Just grab a piece of cardboard and get to it. We're going to call that done. Okay, anything else that we might want to hit while we're here? Said most of the work is on the holes. I mean, there's a pretty high lead content for them to be able to scrape that off like that, and it's just disappears. All right, we'll worry about the fenders here in a little bit. Let's get all this cleaned up. Not buying anymore until I reduce the pile of shame. Opportunity, Sable, live from the Urals. Live from the Urals, exactly. I should drink some vodka. No. Not when you're dealing with this shit. What's the most dangerous thing you've done hobby-wise? Let's see if I can take this off. For me, it's taking those damn rivets off the Matchbox cars. I'm not doing that anymore. I haven't had an injury, but man, I've scared myself a few times. I put it inside of one of those a miter box, right? And use the little baffles to hold it in place. And man, I put so much pressure on that thing because I didn't want it to slip and injure myself. That's just unpleasant. Well, these weren't made in the Urals. I'm not sure what factory these were made out of. Okay, we're going to call this one done. And there's some imperfections here, but I think you just have to live with it. I think somebody else has these molds. Jeffrey, who has these molds now? Is it Lancer? Is it Lancer that has these things now? I know they got some of them, I think. Okay, there we go. Now we got that little box. This thing's good to go. This is a model 1940. Oh. And we'll end up replacing this machine gun with a, with one that's made out of sprue or wire or something like that. Used a heated screwdriver to make Zimmer on a tank. I could have easily made a hole if I had to sneeze. Yeah, I don't. I'm just not going to use. I'm not going to do that. I've seen pictures of Zimmerit. You could have done the shittiest job ever. I don't know how good a job you did. It would have looked better than some of the Zimmerit that I've seen on an actual tank. But the whole thing is, it still looks like crap. Doesn't matter if it's, well, it's realistic. Okay, but it's realistic, crap looking. Yeah, everybody who looks at it, you have to explain to them, no, this is supposed to look like shit. You know, just like if you have a Picasso. Man, why does this look like crap? No, it's supposed to look that way. I knew I could work in a Picasso reference in there somehow. Heated screwdriver, yes. Heated, go back. Heated, go back, yeah. Or I've heard people use like a solder or whatever, but man, the temperature those things go is just way too hot for what we need. All right, this cleanup is super easy here on the fenders, and we're going to take some of these fenders off. Same thing over here. This isn't very loud, is it? Doesn't seem like it is. And you guys scared of going to the dentist? You having a dentist flashback? I don't mind going to the dentist. I'm going to run this across the top here. Run across the bottom too. Yeah, you can cut chunks off this. This has a fair amount of lead. You wouldn't be able to cut these little slivers. We'll have to make sure we wash up before we put something in our mouth. We don't want to use this as Parmesan cheese, you know? Crazy in one afternoon. You'll be crazier than the Russians that made this stuff. All right, let's knock out this. Yeah, with the X-Acto knife, I had to slice down and slice over and take little pieces at a time out. Came out decent, but I probably will not repeat the process anytime soon. I got that elephant that I gotta either make it a Ferdinand. Jeffrey, you find yourself ordering much stuff from the United States? Getting raped by the shipping, or pretty much all the stuff you get is from the UK? We shouldn't have to get anything from the U.S. I mean, what the hell could we possibly make here that's not made in the UK for miniatures? GHQ, maybe. But GHQ is 12400. I mean, unless you're doing the tanks. Let's get some of that goop on. Off. There we go. Let's move this guy. Wow, believe it or not, this thing feels warm. I don't know why this one's not coming out real well. The other one came out real easy. No, my foot's not over the pedal. Probably put a little bit of putty on that, clean that up a little bit. All right, 2 down. Yeah, it's really weird. On the edge of this tank, it slices off like it has a really heavy lead content. But when I'm taking off that machine gun, it's like, doesn't seem to be much lead there. That's pretty hard. It's like it's not almost like it's not the same consistency of the metal throughout. Did we get the back? Yeah, we did. The back there. Yeah, we did. All right. Cool. That comes off real easy. Got some games from GMT 500 Compass Games and Worthington Games. GMT and Compass use Second Chance Games now in Liverpool, though. Yeah, let somebody else pay for the shipping. And every time I've ordered something, there's always that warning. You may have to pay value-added tax. Not in America, we don't. I mean, they might get you by other ways, but I've never had to pay that on anything. That's just something they screw you guys over with. Value-added tax. Well, it's not value-added for me. Like, it doesn't add any value to me. Some of this stuff off. Yeah, I'm pretty much anti-taxes. They don't know how to spend money. Why give them more money? They're just gonna, it'd be more money they don't know how to spend. So the storm was coming, and before the storm was coming, they posted in a local paper that the local hippie town where I used to live was thinking about enforcing a curfew. Now, I'm not going to be out 2 o'clock in the morning, but I don't want somebody telling me I can't be out at 2 o'clock in the morning, because the people that are doing stuff anyways are going to do it anyways. So you're basically, you're potentially inhibiting law-abiding citizens. The people that don't obey the law, they're going to do whatever the fuck they want anywhere. And so are the people that make the laws. Used to buy Litco direct, but Pendragon are now UK distributors. Lost Battalion games are now stocked Second Chance. The last game from Compass had a shipping of $33 from an $85 total. Yeah, that's too much, man. That's too much. The shipping from the UK is all, in the US had always been reasonable. And quick. You know, a week. A week's okay. Yeah, I don't like being told what to do by people that don't obey the law themselves. Or the law doesn't apply to us. Yeah. Go fly a kite up your ass, pal. But I can't even stay up till midnight. What the hell am I going to do up at 2 in the morning? I'm not too old for that. It just isn't worth it. All right, let's do the end of this. Now, this is super soft. Super soft, super bendy. We'll bend that up in a second. Bend it like Beckham. Bend it like Yuri. What do you think these castings are from? Probably early 80s? Late 70s, early 80s? Probably early 80s. Late 70s, you got like stuff like Lizard's Grin and stuff like that. That stuff's 2 steps below this. This isn't bad, but then there's some parts on here, I don't know if you can see it on here, that you could tell that when they made the mold, it was made by hand, and like this hatch is kind of irregular. When you get in there, you can kind of see that it's irregular. A little bit. The square hatch, the ends, instead of meeting at a corner, it overlaps a little bit. I don't know if you can make that out. But these hatches up here, these look really good. The gratings. I haven't bought Litco in a while. I don't think I'll be ordering from them anytime soon, and I love their products, but I don't think I need any 40mm frontage stands anytime soon. And part of me's like, feels a little sad, but part of me's like, you know, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be doing any of this stuff. Wouldn't be doing any of this stuff. Chunks out. There's only one thing I don't like about this device. It uses this like proprietary keyhole to tie this thing together. So I was worried about if I'm gonna lose that thing, it's gonna be a pain in the ass. Really hasn't made much of a mess on here at all. Any war games you guys have played recently that you're like, I'm never gonna, there's no way I'm gonna play this ever again? Just something that just was so a waste of time. The game you never play again. I'm never playing Flames of War again, or Rapid Fire. Life's too short to play things you don't enjoy. I've always made this games myself, so it's more of a, I don't want to play it like this anymore. There you go. I've just never encountered this whole level of people just being awfully nefarious as far as like, hey, we need a new version of this game. Okay, well, the last one just came out a year ago. I will make a new one. People buy rule books and stuff like that. Yeah, that's what I plan on doing with this World War II stuff. I see something I don't like, I'll change it. I won't play Advanced Squad Leader again. Not that it's not a good game, it's just I'm not buying all that stuff again. Those kind of games just could benefit a lot from being on a computer. You know, ease setup. Anything that takes a long time to set up, man, put it on the computer. And I haven't messed with Tabletop Simulator enough. I haven't, and kind of regret getting it because I haven't done anything with it. Boy, that thing makes my computer super hot too, and there's like nothing going on. My computer gets super, super warm when it's running that. Finish this one, I got 2 more to do. Maybe I'm wearing out this bit. It's not chopping as good as it was on the first one. It's a pretty safe bit to use. I don't have to use a cut-off wheel or something. Catastrophic consequences. What we'll do is we'll assemble all these. We'll cut off what we want. We'll assemble these. And while this epoxy is drying on these, we'll work on the turrets. Clean them up. Still looks better than a real Russian vehicle. Some of these turrets you see on these T-34s are just in horrible shape. Super pockmarked. Super pockmarked. Temperature's actually pretty pleasant out here. I could make one of these a flamethrower tank. Have to be the Mickey Mouse turret ones. Probably do it. One flamethrower tank's enough. Last one. Last one of these anyway. It still takes a while. This is so much faster than doing this by hand. If they wouldn't have molded this way, I wouldn't have to do it. Didn't have to do it on those SHQ ones. It's just these. Get rid of this eyesore. What's the best turret for early T-34? Well, we'll get it. Oh, I guess that wasn't the latest water. Am I drinking old water? The model 1940, they only made 400 of them, but I'm pretty sure they were all the same turret design. I'm pretty sure they were all the same turret design on those. When you got into the 41, you had a couple different factories. I want to say 3 or 4 different ones. The Stalingrad had a distinct turret style. They had a flat back. I want to say it's similar to this one. This is like their rendition of it. Although I have a feeling this is probably just an amalgamation of a couple different ones. But the back of the turret is completely it's like made out of one section, completely flat, just for ease of production. And a good chunk of those made during this time period of this one had the Stalingrad back, the STZ turret. There's a couple different variations. I believe there was a tank factory in Leningrad. There's one in Stalingrad, and then I'm not sure where the other ones were. Maybe Kharkov. They all had their little variations. And then when you get to the Ural ones, all the Mickey Mouse ones are basically made. They're not made in Stalingrad. I don't believe any of the hexagonal turrets were made in Stalingrad. The Stalingrad ones, basically made this type of turret, and then the plant got taken over. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't repaired during the war because, it got leveled with all the fighting and stuff that they did there. Never really thought about that, but that's kind of a interesting point. But they made 400 of the model 1940s. The model 41s, they probably made 10 times that. And 40% of those came from the Stalingrad factory. And when the 42s start cranking out, the model 42s and the model 42s and the 43s, those all start coming. Those all start coming from new factories that get put in. They got put in far away from the reaches of the Germans fucking with production. And the effect that they had is they basically quadrupled the amount of tanks they were making a year. It was ridiculous. But it said the lifespan of a T-34 tank was a couple days or something like that. So they were going through them pretty quick. Which meant they probably weren't spending a lot of time on spare parts. Not doing a whole lot of of engine overhauls. Though the engines on a T-34s weren't particularly bad, but you take something like, you know, some things that just put it into perspective. Like, let's say you got a Panzer III, right? Panzer III needs an engine overhaul after a couple hundred kilometers. So if there was no, if there was like, if this basically started off at Barbarossa and the Russians just said, you know what, we're just going to step out of the way and we're going to see how fast your Panzers can go. And your Panzers have plenty of fuel, they can't make it to Moscow on one engine. So even if they went straight to Moscow, they can't make it to Moscow on one engine. The engine would fuck up. So it really kind of puts things into perspective. You know, maintenance is like extremely important. You know, so you got this tank that's going to go straight to Moscow from the start line at Barbarossa, and they just, everybody stands apart and won't make it. That's crazy to think about it, you know. And the American tanks had the same problem. I mean, the American tanks are a lot more reliable. With American tanks, same thing. You had to overhaul. You know, you had to do an overhaul. So having an engine that was very difficult to get to, or that you had to pull a bunch of parts out to get to it, that, you know, quick in and quick out, that's kind of a big advantage. But if you're, you know, you've got these disposable tanks, so to speak, or they're used in a disposable way. Let's put it that way. You know, you send these T-34s to your doom with crews that aren't experienced. You know, you don't have to have spare parts if they're just basically on a suicide mission, so to speak. That means you can just be building more tanks instead of building spare parts for the ones you have. It's all the kind of shit you don't normally think about. That was like eye-awakening. I'm like, what? You got to have an overhaul after how many miles? That's crazy. And you think, oh, that's just the Panther. Nah. All the German tanks were that way. So you want to travel by rail as much as you can. Just about done. How many of those Model 42s do we have? 3, I think. Well, I'll leave them for a little bit later. Let's just work on these early ones. Now, this is a Model 41, this is a Model 41, this is a Model 40, Model 40, Model 40, Model 40. A lot of those broke down. Model 41. All right, let me take the Model 41s, and we're going to cut the fenders off one of them. So which has got the most fucked up fenders? Right? You might as well use one that's already the most messed up. This one right here. All right, now this isn't exactly the best bit for this. Let me see if I can find where my bits are quickly. I also don't want to spend a ton of time looking for them. Let's put, let's take the super readers off. They're a little too zoomed in. And let's see, if I was a drill bit, where would I have put myself? Oh, you know what? I put it on this side with it, in that case. I bet they're over here. Let's start to put all this stuff together and be like, hey, we gotta move. Well, we didn't have to move. We chose to move. Here we go. Oh, there's some good stuff in here. Let's bring this thing over. Bring this thing over. Airbrush parts to a shitty airbrush. I don't like using cutoff wheels, man. They scare the shit out of me. Oh, another X-Acto knife. No point in that sitting in there. A good brush. I don't know. That doesn't need to be here. More brushes. More brush for the brush god. All right, what do we got here? Some of those might be good. This is what I wasn't sure that if I had it or not. I'm pretty sure this is the one for it. Maybe it isn't. Yeah, it is. You just got to use it over here. I wish this wasn't so difficult to take off, but then, you know, it's pretty secure. And this kind of needs to be secure, because if otherwise, you're going to end up doing a number to yourself. All right, let's see what we got drill bit wise. These are drill bits that I got. My wife ended up getting me a Dremel tool that wasn't a Dremel brand. It was really well, I didn't do much with it because it didn't have that adjustable speed. But it did come with a ton of accoutrements. A ton of them. Let's see what we got in here. I think I started setting this up. Yeah, here they are. Here's all these things at the bottom. Yeah, I want one that's metal. So probably none of those. Yeah, I don't trust my life to these cut-off wheels that are probably really old. I'd rather not get into it that way. This has a little ball at the end. That might work. Much better working with plastic. You don't have to use any of this heavy-duty stuff. It's a lot harder to get hurt with plastic. Let's say it can't happen, but we'll use that little ball mount. See how it goes with that. is the one thing we don't want to lose. We don't want to lose this. Now, let me get the super readers on here. Let's take a look at some of the stuff that I did. I don't want to use some kind of a cutoff wheel. Because I don't trust any of the ones I have. Actually, I got one I would trust, but it's freaking huge. So we're going to come in and we're going to take this fender off. We're just going to grind it down. Just beside it like that. Take it slow. Maybe this isn't the best bit for that. That's what we have other bits. We don't want to use a screw. We want, whatever this was, it's covered in friggin' plastic. I don't know, this might, I think this one might be diamond tipped. Let's give it a shot. Hey, don't make any fucking plans. Don't be like, hey, we'll get this done and this done and this done tonight. How about we got some hours to work on something and we'll just see how long it takes. And it'll take as long as it takes to get it done. Having these unrealistic expectations is a good way to get you disappointed. Thing's getting warm all the way back here. Let's do something for good measure. Okay? Let's do something for good measure. Just in case. No. I got a piece over here this small. Got one that's really nice, but it's a bit too big. In case I go through this thing, I don't want to fuck up the table that's on it. Let's put that underneath here as well. All right, we got to go through a lot of layers of shit. A lot of stuff's got to go sideways. We don't want to damage this thing. We don't want to hear, hey, you're breaking stuff. I don't want to look at it. Which is the one that's got the, here it is. We're going all the way through it. Woo, you're warm. Okay. And then we'll do that. Ooh, you're very warm. Now, let's strong arm some shit. Got this here. We should be able to get this. It's not like we need to save this fender for anything. Let's give a little bit of personality to these things. One more switch. One more switch. But back to the turret question. It depends what you mean by best turret. Best turret for the crew, or best turret, like, you know, if you're going to buy one tank and you need to use it, you know, which one is more appropriate for more time, you know. Generally, very generally, things usually get better for the crew as wars goes on. Generally. Very generally. Certainly for the Soviets. So, you know, the early turret doesn't have, you know, only has one big hatch. I was reading something about that early turret, and they called it they had a name for it because it was difficult to get open, and if it jammed, now you've got everybody in the tank that's trying to exit it through the driver's compartment. So that's kind of a problem when you need to leave in a hurry. Let's put the readers back on. Oven bin or something like that. It was called something like an oven bin or something. Oh, Jesus. Cutting through that fast. But a lot of the turrets also get simplified as time goes on because they've got weak points. Well, they're more difficult to manufacture. And when you're trying to outproduce your enemy, that's kind of important. And also they got weak points. But as a modeler, sometimes you don't want the best thing for the crew. You want the one that looks the best for you. And I happen to like the Model 1940 turret the best. But the best one for the crew of the 76mm turrets is the latest one. The one that even has a cupola. Of course, by the time those came out, you got Tigers and Panthers that are out there. And a 76mm gun is just gun and counter issues. Because there's a time period where, after Kursk, the Russians are kind of at a disadvantage, and I mean tactically. You know, obviously strategically, you know, they've got the momentum, but tactically, you know, if you're the guy on the ground, you encounter a German tank. There's a lot of tanks you can't deal with. So this is what we're going. This is what the front of this fender is going to look like. It's missing right there. Now I'm going to do the same thing back here. Let's just see what happens. I mean, the T-34-85 really turned the tide. That 85 millimeter gun really turned the tide because it's got a chance of hurting the Panthers and the Tigers, but it definitely can hurt them. You know, assuming the crew is trained enough to use it. That's always a catch. This is going to be kind of crude, but hey, these are crude tanks. These are crude models. These fenders are a lot thicker than on this tank than they would be in real life. Okay. Take one on the other side off too. Fuck it. The bare minimum. Boy, he eats through this motherfucker like nobody's business. We're going to leave the one fender in the back corner. What happened here? Well, sit down, I'll tell you a story, comrade. Vacuum. Now the problem with these is just that they have hardly any place for these things to grip on. The design of them is pretty bad. You know, if you look at the glue spots, they pretty much just glue on the top of this. They don't even sit up against the side. So you got to be careful when you glue them that you don't glue them. Let's see if I can get the camera angle right. That you don't glue them like this, because then they're sitting, you know, like so. They need to be kind of vertical. So you got to be patient with that a little bit. All right. I know none of the 1940 ones I want to do any of that stuff on there. So let me go ahead and let's mix up some epoxy. Let's epoxy these together. Let's unplug this so we don't accidentally step on this and then have this. Not likely I'll get hurt, but never can tell. Let's cut off a piece of this stuff right here. I got my epoxy that I brought out here. Can't tell if your plastic has color flecks in it or if there's metal chips everywhere. Vacuum. That's right, Jared. The Heinemann is here. Wer ist mein Heinemann? We're going to be really liberal with this stuff because we need to fill some gaps. And we want to use this needle, not the needle from my airbrush. That would be unfortunate. All right, only thing we got to remember is make sure now the only glue spots are going to be here and there, as weird as this seems, and there and back up here. They don't, you can put some on the side, it's not going to touch it. It's a design flaw in these things. And unfortunately, there's a little bit of a gap there between the actual wheel and the transmission. So we're just going to put some of this down. So we can mix this up the least amount of times needed. All right, I want to make sure, don't put them back asswards. That would be unfortunate. Okay, move this one off to the side, do the next one. And if there's ever something to use epoxy on and not super glue, it would be this. I'm specifically not standing them up, because standing them up actually makes them kind of go together. There's two. How many can we do? I'm going to wait to do that one until I got some thicker glue, until it thickens up a little bit. I wonder what the world's worst T-34 driver was guilty of. Driving it into a swamp or something. Although I read one time that most of those T-34s that were recovered in a swamp, or the Germans basically captured them and they drove one in there because they didn't want them to be captured back. Makes you wonder how many things are out there that haven't been found. Okay, now I probably need to take a pause because after doing 4 of these, I think I'm going to have to mix up some more. Even if I want to, whether I want to or not. And we'll use this one for the damaged wheel. I don't know if I can get enough of a purchase on that side. We'll try to we'll see if we can intend to do that. So weird. That's the glue. That's the gluing per points. So odd. Bit of plastic card or green stuff will level the tracks up. Maybe. But I got too many T-34s to have them take even longer. They're not worthy. All right, so I'll have 3 left to do on the next batch of epoxy. And the good thing about epoxy is, in about 5 minutes, it's setting. Like it's, you know, I can adjust these. I can adjust these a little bit and be okay. So let's go ahead and mix the other stuff, apply it, and come back and adjust the other 4. You know, if these were high quality models, it'd be one thing, but they're not. So I don't want to spend a bunch of extra time doing stuff that probably wouldn't be seen. And you're still going to have people like, oh, it don't look very good. Well, you know, it's 1981 technology or however long these are. I don't know how long I don't know how old these molds are, but they're not older than me, but they're not lizard's grin. Just slop this stuff on. Make sure. Let's put the front one, let's put the one in the correct position. If not, I just, guess what? I have to redo it again. I hope I didn't do that. I mean, I just assumed that, no, we didn't fuck up yet. Give it time. A little too liberal with the first one. Oh well, shit happens. And sometimes that shit happens to you. And the height that I'm at right now, my back is killing me. My lower back is killing me. I need to sit down. Feels good to stand up, but just like that issue model I had of Ferdinand. I'd like for it to be an elephant with Zimmer. I don't think it's worth to spend that kind of time on it. Oh, you're just being obstinate. Difficultus. Difficultus maximus. This epoxy goes a long way. Of course, one even more when I was doing DVA stuff. It really lasts a long time then. That was an answer to what's the worst thing a T-34 has ever done. What's that? T-34 driver? Driving sober. That's the worst thing he's ever done. So, I got a bunch of junk models that I got the other day at the convention. And I thought I got a pretty good deal on them for 20 bucks. I'm pretty sure that I didn't get a good deal, but that's okay. I've gotten good deals in the past. I got a good deal on these things. So I don't really want to. Man, those BP cast models really are terrible. And some of those tanks, I don't know that they were worth repairing. I mean, the Panther, I looked at it. The Panther, other than the barrels are missing, they also have like stuff glued and really in the wrong place. They look like they were put together by like an 8-year-old. So we'll take a look and see if they're going to be worth fixing, but I'm not so sure. See, now they have some flexibility to them. Now we can stand them up. And now they will sit like they're supposed to. Yeah. No, that's one of the new ones. First batch. I may have to put some green stuff in there to cover that, or just cake it with mud. Or snow. And now we'll go clean up the turrets. This is super fresh. Okay. This is 4 T-34 model 1940s and 3 more T-34 model 41s. It's going to give me like 8 of each. I got too many of the 40s, honestly. Oh well. Sell them. Sell them painted. I don't know. Okay. Turret time. Model 40s, Model 41. I don't think. I'm not a tinkerer. I don't think I have a model 1940 with a hatch open. So one of these probably have the hatch open. And all the model 41s will probably have the hatch closed. I think I've got 2 of them with the hatches open. That's enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, missing 1. There it is. I like the Model 40 turret the best. It just looks good. And there's this side periscope that's here. It's on both of them. That ended up getting eliminated later. Like, oh, it's worse visibility. Yeah, but it's also not a weak point. So, let's see how bad the casting is on these. Because a lot of these, you know, if one piece is significantly out of register, I guess that's what you call it with decals. So we'll do the same thing. We'll carry over the decal name. If it's out of register with the two halves on the turret here, and I'm not going to build the whole damn thing up out of putty. I don't want to use my file. They're too abrasive. It's not a mold line. That's the problem. The problem is they're out of instead of being straight across from each other, there's zag like this. And I'm not going to fill the whole thing across. That's just not interested in getting into that. I do that kind of work. I might as well just buy models that are made correctly. You could drill out the barrels in a little bit when we get inside. That I'm not worried about. Other than that, it's probably clean right there. Let's do all the Model 41s. The turrets actually look pretty darn good. You know, if I had nothing but time on my hands, I'd drill and put some handholds on some of these, but with used staples, like, yeah, I don't. These can be ones that don't have any. Otherwise, I just created a shitload of work for myself. And we're going to do some snow on some of these guys. I'm not going to put snow on them. They're going to be like, you know, painted for the snow. Unless they just look like crap, which might actually be a realistic look for them. But I really don't want to explain to people, man, those aren't painted very well. It's supposed to look that way. It's supposed to look like shit. It's kind of a hard sell, you know. Ooh, this looks like caca. The L11 gun, not the 11 caliber. L11. I think it was like a 26 caliber, something like that. It was longer than the, well, you could tell it's longer than the, might even been in the 30s. You know, a T-34 doesn't have that much armor. It's just sloped. So, you know, it's got 40, 45 millimeters of armor sloped. So it's like equivalent of like, you know, 70. 65, 70, something like that. And if you got a really big, powerful gun, that probably doesn't make much of a difference. But when you got one that has trouble penetrating that, yeah, that's a big advantage. You're basically sitting in a tank that's invulnerable to anything other than 88s, at least in the early stages of Barbarossa. So these like model 1940 T-34s are basically invulnerable. Because what happens is they're no longer in service by the time the Germans have the vehicles that can penetrate them reliably. The long 50, the 75 L43. These 40s don't exist anymore. You know, they only made 400 of them. They're long gone. So this is basically an impervious T-34. I'm not saying in every situation, but I'm just saying that, you know, if they're going to run against equivalent panzer forces, you know, you have to fire HE at them and shock the crew. I wonder if that face of battle takes that into effect. I was reading one of the accounts of one of the tankers, and they would do that. They'd fire the first round as HE, shock the crew, you know, slow down their reaction time. Because basically, whoever gets the shot off first wins. A lot of these engagements, at least in Western Europe, they were talking about it. So they load HE as the first thing. Hit him with HE. Make their ears ring. Then they get down to business. That's pretty bold. I mean, I guess you got enough guys firing HE at you, it's going to be a problem. How long have we been on here? 2 hours, and we're just doing cleanup. I mean, it takes a while. And then we'll prime black. We'll do some spray painting here. After we glue the turret hatches. But at least we don't have to manufacture any parts for these. All right. We need 4 of the model 1940 hatches. There's 1. That's the 41. There's another 41. There's a 1940 hatch. That's a 1940 hatch. It's a 1940 hatch. We need 1 more 41. And I'm not afraid to make one. If I have to. Normally that would have freaked me out. Now I'm like, well, it's just one other step. These two are mauled pretty bad, actually. So it looks like not only are we going to have to make a hatch, we're missing one. I'm going to make two hatches because this is actually a pretty good copy, but this one's not. It's kind of chewed up a little bit. So I'm going to put these in a baggie, and we're going to make two hatches out of green stuff. But the model 1940 ones are okay. So we're still going to paint the 41 turrets. We'll just put the hatch on later. Okay. See how the fit and finish is on these. It's okay. I'd much rather use epoxy than super glue. But I don't really want to mix it up. So I'll be right back. Let me go grab some thick epoxy. Thick super glue, sorry. First one we're going to glue on. Glue the hatch up. But man, I really need my stickum. That should work. Okay, and these are all closed. So we just need to do a little bit on the inside there. You don't want all that gooping out. Last one. Yeah, I can't imagine putting the tanks together with super glue. We got better stuff available now. All right. King Tiger's still out here. I think I'm okay having 3 King Tigers. I got enough freaking Russian steel you got to run up against. They're gonna have some problems. Gonna have some problems. That's what this looks like. That looks good. And we're probably not going to use one of these tank commanders. We'll probably use some of the other ones that I have. I got some pretty good looking tank commanders. All right, we got black already out here. We've got the primer black. Let's get everything fired up for this. Got that handy. Put the needle in here. The 0.5 needle. And the secret, tighten it down. This can go ahead and go back here. See if we manage to not have a jam again. I've been doing pretty good with it lately. I got it down. That can go in the garbage can, but we're going to keep the needle. All right. Let's fire this up. Yeah, temperature is actually pretty comfortable. Pretty comfortable. Tankograd down here. And if you need to adjust these things while they're still soft a little bit, you can. So if these need any filler on them, we'll fill that after we primed them in black. We just touch up those spots. All right. We like to use this. Oh, hold on 1 second. Okay, daughter's back. Volume's on. You want to say anything? No? Okay, bye-bye. Anyhow, what are we on pressure-wise? About 40 psi. We could probably drop that a little bit. I still like to keep it kind of high. All right. Just so you don't have any disturbances stuck in there. Paper towels. Okay, we're good. Airbrush cleaner. Let's fill her up. There it is. All right, so let's flip. Let's do these one at a time. Garage is open right now, so hopefully we don't have a flying bird or something come in here. Or a moth that has a heart on for me. There it is. I was wondering when I was going to kick in. It's on high. Yeah, it's on high. Mic's on. You going in? Mm-hmm. Okay. You got the garage? All right. Before I get attacked by moths.
That's only at night.
Moths that want to be famous. This would probably be a good opportunity to shoot a how to paint the tanks thing tomorrow, but I don't know if I've got the oomph to do that. I get pretty lazy when it comes to, making videos. I'd rather just do it live. Well, I don't have time to watch a 2-hour video. Well, there's a thing called a fast forward button. I don't really do this for anybody else's really consumption. I'm just kind of doing it to forcing me to stay on track. Wish the stuff wasn't shiny. That's only looks a little semi-glossish, and it's kind of hard to keep track of what's going on where. Just sitting home all day and painting. Hey, it saves a lot of money. It does. Next. I didn't put on my body cavity search gloves. Damn it. Took all the fun out of it. Yummy. Just makes cleanup a lot easier. Really, the only mess you end up making is if you grab the model and move it. That's pretty much it. Would you dress up as Violet for Halloween? That is a left-handed violator. Man, feels like I'm sick, but I'm not. Damn environment. Now, the other thing that's kind of unfortunately is these all have the same running gear. So there's no option to have like the steel road wheels or anything like that. They all have the rubber road wheels, you know, pre-war. Everything's hunky-dory. We got lots of stuff in supply. Rubber-rimmed road wheels. Oh. How we doing on this stuff? Oh, we got plenty. Painting black, super excited. Super exciting. Now, I'm actually going to go ahead and scoop some of this out. Then we'll run some airbrush cleaner in it. It's good to do that from time to time. Then you don't end up with a big jam that takes you half an hour to clean out. Because this stuff is very finicky. It's just thick. You know, and it has this almost like this melted cheese type stuff to it that so take a little 2-minute break that saves you from spending a half hour on it. I think it's a good investment. But this is yeah, it looks like there it is. Let's take that off. All right, as we were. .35 psi. And it's only because this stuff's pretty thick. And that's also why we're using a 0.5 needle. Although I think it probably actually should be called a 0.5 gap. Making the gap thicker. So a thicker solution could go in there. Oh, that was an interesting spatter. I'm expecting that. And you can apply this by brush also. The problem is when you're doing these large areas, it works fine around the road wheels. It might even work better around the road wheels. But when you're doing these large areas of the hull, as you're applying more paint, you're rubbing it off also as you're doing it. Because it's such a smooth surface. So probably what I should do first. We can get in there with a green. Just realized the feed is reversed. Is it? You sure? Well, I didn't do anything to it. Make sure, I'll switch it back. Well, let's see. Can I read it? No, it's reversed. See, sometimes it's reversed and you guys say it's okay. So I see that it's reversed and it's all right. You sure? I hate fucking technology. You always gotta fuck with stuff. There's always some nerd burglar that's bored. Some nerd burglar that's not getting laid and he's bored. Yeah, let's fuck with things. Well, there's lots of people that do fucking videos on. Well, I don't get TikTok, but you see them through reels and shit like that, and they're always reversed too. Or take photos of shit and it's reversed. You didn't say it's reversed. Just realize the feed is reversed. Reversed. I don't know what that is. I don't know what reversed is. Yeah, if I'm doing this with my left hand, something's wrong. Mitch might actually be a better painter with his left hand than I am. I know that's kind of a stretch, but is it? So what we're probably going to do is we're going to spray these black, and then we're going to go eat something, and then we'll come back and spray green. I didn't have lunch. I had 2 breakfasts, but I didn't have lunch. We're actually going to do, how many early T-34s do we have? 4? We're going to make 2 of them and use the other green. Oh, well, there was an early war green. Not the 4BO. I don't know what it's called. But we're going to use that on 2 of them. Yeah, it's not getting in there. How about I don't worry about it too much? I can always get in there with a brush. Ooh. A little bit of spittle. Look out for the spittle. No! I wonder if it's happening because of this. Let's take that. Oh yeah, we got some gold up there. There we go. I don't normally spray with that little tip on it. It's kind of unnecessary. Just another place where paint can build up and get in your way. More power. That's actually the lowest I've ever sprayed black in. I'm trying to work my way down because I think some of the issues that I was having was I was putting too much pressure and it was spraying too far and all that. We'll dial it down for the regular paint, but we need to push this thick stuff on through. Video idea, left-handed painting challenge. Is it? Let's see if I can change it. I am definitely not left-handed. Did that fix it? Let me know if that fixed it. Did it? Well, it still looks reversed, but I pressed the reverse button. Oh no, I pressed that button. Oh, there it is. I don't know how to fucking change it. I'm not gonna fuck with it. We'll end up losing the feed. I don't even care anymore. Fuck it. Hey, last time I did it, it wasn't backwards. I didn't do anything different other than start it back up. Shouldn't be that fucking difficult. Oh man, painting's difficult. No, it's not. Painting's a breeze. It's dealing with this video shit that's a problem. The video fuckery. The video fuckery is a pain in the ass. That's about as leftist as I get. You have to reverse the video and use my other hand. Actually, I don't care about playing with it. I don't have a problem playing with somebody who has a different political opinion. I don't really have a political opinion. I don't like anybody in politics. They're a bunch of assholes. But I don't like people telling me what to do. I just don't want to play with people who get offended by stuff and get offended on the behalf of other people that aren't even offended by it. Where's my big box of flags? I should run up the Lions and Castles flag on Monday. What do you think? See, he gets offended. That's what I was saying this morning. That's what I like about watching World War II stuff with my daughters. I don't have to worry about this woke agenda shit on that stuff. It's just good old punching Nazis. I mean, really, you want a game with people that might get offended by, like, Monty Python stuff? The answer is no. Oh, we need to scoop this thing out again. Ooh, that's in a precarious place. Put that over here. You guys still having those political riots out there in England, or it ended up being the time passed for that? I don't see any good reason to have a riot for anything. I'm too busy working, man. Leave me alone. I'm gonna go home. I'm not gonna cause any trouble. I was thinking about running a video game. There's video game video soon, but I have to relearn how to do everything. Where I'm just going to be I'll be all thumbs. People don't really watch those anyways. I don't want to play and not have it on video. Something really exciting could happen. I might have to ram a gun with a tank or something. Gun go fly. Yeah, left-handed paint challenge. I think I'll opt out of that. Or unbraced painting challenge. Although I'm not braced on this, but I've seen people make the airbrush like this, like, you know. I'm not there yet. I'm not doing really uber precise stuff either. Whoop. Good Lord. I almost walked in there. Yeah, how long have we been on here? Almost 3 hours. Yeah, this takes a while. And this is just tanks that are overall going to be one color, pretty much. I don't think I'm going to camouflage any of these. Well, snow. But that worked pretty well. Now I figured out on the last one. Easy there, Fumbles. So when we do the snow one, we're going to do it all green, and then we're going to lightly spray the snow. I don't even know how it's going to behave through here. It's kind of chalky, so I'm wondering I probably should run 0.5 through it. Could just go online and see what people have to say about it. I'm sure somebody's used it through their brush, but there's a lot of stuff that information online that's just factually wrong. And unfortunately, there's some turds that decided actually to push that on purpose. They'll push like false information on purpose just to drive people crazy. I don't know. I don't see what the purpose of it is. Drive random people crazy. It's a Model 41. Not that I don't want to do those, but I do have more of these out here. Could probably use another pack of these or another 2 packs of them. But the holding thing's actually not that helpful. Because what happens is then you got to worry about where you're going to put them and the thing falling over and just lay them somewhere. But having these alligator clips to hold on to, bamboo skewers on, it's pretty helpful. Here's another one. Oh, this is missing a clippy. Fucking wrong apple. All right, well, no worries. And the other 3 are these. These are all going to have the hatches closed. Last one. Oh, come on, not now. I need just a few little drippings. All right, let's take a quick glance to see if there's anything that needs to have. any attention paid to it. Chirpy chirp. And the last one. Now I can't do the brush painting with the AK paint, the MIG paint, because it is way too watery. I can do it, it just doesn't look great. Okay, so this is going to dry out. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and clean this out. Let's blow this sky high. clean to me. We're going to unscrew this. Hold my needle back just a little bit so we can clear this. And push the needle back out the front. That's ready to rock and roll. So is this. You can always add a little bit of hand sanitizer. I've got a window behind me, so we'll see. We can see daylight through it. Good. See daylight through that too. Okay, so that's clean. Close this up. Drain the pressure. And it'll be ready to rock and roll whenever we get back. All right, folks, that's gonna wrap it up. I don't know if I'm gonna get a chance to come back or not, but we will see. If I am, then I'll be back. All right, folks, see you on the next one. Bye-bye.